Hey, how's it going? Vince from Squashbug Games. So, there's been some chat about setting up aim and everything. So, the best I can do is show you how I went about it. So, quick overview. Um, this is how I have mine set up. So, I've got a few weapons that I've made, and I'm using true first person at the moment, so this should kind of carry over to either situation that you have. But anyhow, at the moment, you can see I've got Boolean that's set in my animation blueprint, which will tell you if the secondary weapon is being used. If it is, then it'll become true. So, as you see, true. Now, I gotta play around with that dot. I have to move it over a little bit, zero the weapon, but for the most part, it's pretty much working. So I'll show you on how it looks from the third person, from another client, that is. So okay. Alright, so as you can see, this isn't perfect, but aiming with two hands. Okay, switch to the handheld handgun. Now I gotta play around with the way the weapon sits. This is actually gonna have to be a new socket later on, but for the most part, this will do. Alright, so quick overview of how I have it set up. Alright, let me just move this over. Okay, so in my ALS, which is your BP character, let me just quick set the aim to true so you can see better. Now I've got a camera that's set up under the weapon cam here. Alright, so this took me quite a while to get it all right, but the best way to do this would probably be on a camera per weapon. So I've kind of got a blanket approach here, but as you can see, I activate that camera during the aim event. Okay, so before I go there though, so I've got this this weapon camera is on the hand R. Alright, so if you go into the aim event, this is how I have it set up. So under the input action aim, pressed, we do a set active. Weapon cam is set as target. Alright, new active, and then upon release it goes to the third person camera and resets. Alright, and then it's pretty much the opposite here. Weapon camera for released, reset, and TB camera. Alright, so that's how I have it set up. Close that. Alright, so as far as my animation blueprint, let's see. Okay, so I'm still playing around with this, but I've got a couple new variables that I added in. I've got a current weapon, secondary weapon reference. Alright, and it's all to the BP base weapon for current weapon and secondary weapon reference. And then I got a boolean here that sets the secondary weapon to true or false, which I pipe over from the pawn to current weapon, secondary weapon. Current weapon goes over to, it sets a variable here under the anim blueprint to current weapon. And then I've got one for set secondary weapon reference, which comes right here. Secondary weapon. Pretty simple. And then I made a little sequence here after that. Alright, so 0 continues on. Yeah, it's ugly. Ooh. Okay, and then number 1, we go to a branch. Get a little equal action. Alright, see if the current weapon is equal to the secondary weapon reference. And then if that is true, it sets secondary weapon boolean to true. If it's false, secondary weapon is not true. Okay. And then in the anim blueprint, I have a on aiming. If true, we go up. And this is the false pose for this action. Actually, we could have just set it to secondary weapon, but that's fine. Okay, so I've got a blend poses by bool. If this is false, then it's going to come over to layer per bone. We're going to do a little fabric action. Basically, this is for the left hand. Alright, so this is how it's set up. End effector is set to hand R, bone space, no change, preserve existing component. Then the solver is set to hand left. That's where I've set the left hand to be offset for the rifle. And this stuff here just converts over. And I've got the assault rifle anim offset and the normal aiming animations. Okay, and then if the secondary weapon is true, true pose goes out, layered blend per bone. It's basically the same thing except I've got two. So I've got one for the right hand, as you can see. So let's say if I set this to true, you'll see this fabric. Alright, so that's for the right hand. I can move it around, adjust it. Alright, and then this is for the left hand. I can adjust it as well. Then it goes out to the pistol anim offset and the animations. And I actually didn't change any of these from the rifle animations. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Let me change this back over to false by default. Alright. Yeah. This is kind of a mess. I have to clean it all up, but it is working for the most part. Alright, so that is that. I think that's pretty much it. This is basically the camera that's used. It's kind of a one-size-fits-all at the moment, but it kind of gives you the general idea. Alright, thanks for watching.